Well, this was the scene in the Scottish Borders on December the 19th, 2009. Very picturesque, of course, as we look at the Eildon Hills from the stand at Netherdale, home of Gala Rugby Club. And thanks to the underground heating and a lot of hard work from the locals, the derby between Gala and Hawick was one of only 2 games played in the Scottish Hydro Premiership on this day. And a large crowd were in attendance for one of the big fixtures in Scottish rugby. But as soon as kick-off time came, in came the snow as well to make conditions tricky, to say the least. And in the first minute, it was Hawick who got on the scoreboard. A good catch from Craig Charters at the line out to Danny Landals, and the captain Bruce McNeill put pressure on a normally watertight Gala defence. Quick ball out on the left flank saw the ball go to Lee Armstrong, who went in at the corner to give Hawick a 5-point lead, and that was followed 5 minutes later by a Peter Brown-esque penalty kick from David Lowry, the big second-row first-choice kicker for Hawick on the day. But Gala came back into it on 17 minutes, Chris Weir taking the line out cleanly and setting off his back line to make inroads into the green zone defence. Charles Sampson had the unenviable task of refereeing this game and was immediately out to stamp his own authority on proceedings. He penalised Hawick for getting the ball back illegally, much to the annoyance of several Hawick players, including captain Bruce McNeill. But once a decision has been made, it's very rare the referees change their minds. And Graham Spears got Gala off the mark with 3 points. That kick should have been cancelled out a few minutes later by David Lowry, but he surprisingly put this penalty wide, and this was the first of several missed opportunities with the boot for Hawick throughout the afternoon. 10 minutes before half-time, and a handling error in midfield gave Spears the chance to hack the ball on. It developed into a foot race between the Gala wing and Hawick scrum half Rory McPherson, but it was Spears who made it to the line to touchdown, and Gala had turned over an 8-point deficit to go level. There's no better weapon in your armoury than a boy with pace to burn, and it was Spears' pace which proved decisive on this occasion, and with him kicking the conversion too, Gala were now in the lead, 10-8. The Maroons had another chance for points on 31 minutes, and Spears again stepped up to kick his second penalty of the game, this time from the far side of the pitch. By this time, Hawick were getting increasingly frustrated. A lot of decisions weren't going their way, and a touch of indiscipline from time to time crept in, and it was inevitable that the referee would soon be brandishing his yellow card. 5 minutes before the interval, Matt Landals was singled out by Mr. Sampson for some foul play, and off he went for 10 minutes. But that didn't stop Hawick from running the ball, and despite being down to 14 men, they were comfortable going forward, and Gary Johnson gave his team a real chance to go back in front again, but a tap tackle stopped him in his tracks. His teammates piled in to keep the momentum going as play was switched out to the right, but Gala got back to defend, and the move petered out as the ball rolled into touch. Gala had clearly decided that Bruce McNeill was a danger man this afternoon. We're paying close attention to him, but you'd certainly have backed him to make more of this opportunity. Hard to tell whether his pass was intended for Colin Murray or Craig Charters. And that was as good as it got for Hawick in the first half. Soon they found themselves down to 13 men. Sean Linton joining Landals in the sin bin for a trip on Gala scrum half Ian Ross. It could be argued it was accidental, but the referee was in no mood to be generous, and off he went into the sin bin. The Greens continued to feel hard done by as more decisions went against them, and you can see the frustration for yourself as half-time approached and more contrasting interpretations of the rules by Hawick and Mr. Sampson. But Bruce McNeill's version of events wasn't being entertained by the referee as he sent the teams off for the interval. So Gala with a slender lead as the snow continued to come down, and some inventive work by the ground staff trying to clear the lines on the pitch for the second period. It was Gala who started the second half much the better and scored an almost identical try to Hawick's opener. Sean Law took a high ball well, set off on a penetrating run, passed to Lee Miller, out to Graham Spears, who dived in at the corner, and after some consultation with his assistant, the referee allowed the try, and a 10-point gap had opened up. Hawick were back to 15 players on 50 minutes when they went over Gala's line with a pushover try. Not pretty, but very effective, and underneath it all was Craig Charters. This was his third try of the season, and he was delighted to have put his team right back in this game. Conditions were still not good, but now Gala were peppering the Greens line. After several pick and drives, Hawick were holding firm at the back, so they decided to bring in the backs, and Willie Cox had a go, also to no avail. Rory McPherson didn't make much ground either, and when he was caught in possession, the referee said he was holding on to the ball and duly awarded Gala another penalty in a very kickable position, and up stepped Spears again to score his and his club's 21st point of the game. With time running out, Hawick pressed forward to try and get something out of the game. Of course, when the teams last met, it was Gala who won with a record points win against their border rivals at Mansfield Park, so doing the double would be a season highlight. But there was still some defending to do as Hawick tried to extend their unbeaten run to 12 games. Into injury time, and the Gala defence was broken down as they conceded a third try, and it was a pretty straightforward effort. McPherson to Hogg, on to Coots, who delayed the pass just right for Gary Johnson coming in the line on the angle to dot the ball down. It ended 21-18, and after a hard-fought battle, one of the best things about the game of rugby is after the final whistle is blown, it's a shake of the hands and a pint in the bar afterwards. But it was Gala who were celebrating an historic double.
21 points for Gala, 21 points for you, 2 tries as well. It was a dream day.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, the boys were outstanding. If it hadn't been for the boys putting me into space, I wouldn't have got the try in the second half, and the boys getting the positioning to kick the goals. So everyone was outstanding today.
So which try did you prefer? I presume the long 60-yarder.
Yeah, I was blown after that, but I mean, as long as I get it down over the line, I don't care, and whoever scores it, as long as we get it over, 5 points.
And of course, it puts you back in the promotion race again.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it, but as far as we're concerned, take each game as it comes, try and go out to win each game. And it's a good start today, and we'll just go out next week to try and beat Melrose and win the league. We'll get back in the league campaign, try and take each game as it comes and see what happens.
Well, obviously bitterly disappointed.
Definitely, Stuart. We were hoping to come here and reverse the situation from the first game at Mansfield. We certainly did play better than we played at Mansfield, but to no avail. We still gave away some soft scores, and that's the thing that hurts the most. We also allowed some of the refereeing decisions to affect us more than they should have done.
For me, it's just another, massive win on the road to where we want to be. Beating Hawick at Hawick was for me was a great win. In the manner in which we won today, I was really pleased because of the character we showed and the conditions and under the pressure that Hawick put us in to come away with a good win. I think the gloss was taken off a little bit by the fact that we conceded a try just on the death, and I was a wee bit disappointed with that. But we won, and that's the most important thing.
We won't be counting on anything until it's mathematically impossible to be caught, but we're still up there in second place, and we'll be fighting to stay there.